Hi guys, my name is Ashley Spiegel and I am applying for Global Leadership for the year of 2021. You guys asked, what is the gospel? To me, the gospel is this amazing love story between us and God. In the beginning, we had this perfect relationship with God where we could talk with Him, where we could walk with Him and be with Him. But because He gave us free will, we chose to sin against Him. We chose to fall into temptation where we were separated from God. This separation caused us much pain and suffering. We were no longer able to just communicate with God. But God continued to keep pursuing us, continued to keep loving us. So He gave words and laws and ordinances to prophets like Abraham and Moses to protect us from our own sins. But God didn't stop there. He kept wanting more and more of us. He wanted to love us to His full capacity. And so He chose to send His one and only Son, Jesus Christ, down to earth, where He lived as fully man and fully God. There He showed us what loving looks like, what forgiving looks like, and finding the lost looks like. He showed us the value and worth that each human has. After 33 years of living on earth, He was forced to walk up carrying His own cross where He would be hung. On that cross, He looked at us and said that we are worth it, that every bit of the pain and suffering is worth it so that we can live. And He took His very last breath on that cross. While He was dead, He went down to death and defeated it. And 3 days later, He rose again. He rose again knowing that we can now live, that death no longer held a grip on us, and that those chains of sin and temptation no longer stood in the way of our relationship with God. Jesus is the thing that brings us and builds that relationship with God once again. We are now left with the Holy Spirit, where we are able to feel God, love God, know God, and be able to hear and speak to God through it. We no longer have to go through people, but we can just go through ourselves to God through Jesus Christ. By accepting Jesus Christ into our heart, we can experience that love and relationship with our Almighty Father. You guys also asked what it looks like to be a disciple of Christ. I think to be a disciple of Christ is to obediently love people and forgive them like Jesus. To look at what Jesus did and use it as an example for what we do in our everyday life. I think it is to devoutly read His word and understand who He is, to pray to Him and build this relationship. But most of all, I believe that being a disciple of Christ is loving people to the best ability that we have. That loving them beyond humanly standards, but through spiritually standards, that we are able to love because God loved us first. I just think that this is the most important story. It's the story between us and God, and it's the amazing love story that He had for us. Thank you, and I hope you guys consider me for global leadership.